Oh, my leg. See, we get some people in the room. Damn, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Dang, I ain't know it was this late. I guess I was gonna try to do 2 videos. But I guess I only do one. Let's see, we get some people in the room. Now they saying Carmelo Anthony was found guilty, but they saying that he was sentenced to 35 years. He wasn't sentenced today. Let me just check. Carmelo Anthony was found guilty, but he was not sentenced today. Let me just check this out. Was Carmelo because he was facing 5 to 99 years. But ABC News is saying to 2 to 20 years. Yeah, he wasn't sentenced to 35 years. That's just some clickbait stuff. But Carmelo Anthony was found guilty of stabbing Austin Metcalf today, and it has sparked different reviews, even in the black community, because some black community says that he was guilty and he deserved to go to prison, and others are saying, and it wasn't an all-white jury. I'm thinking it was an all-white jury. It was 4 whites, um, a couple of Asians, some Indians. Well, all of them don't like us. Hey, Stars, what's up? So, we're just gonna get off into the video. A teen was found guilty of a murder over the fatal stabbing of another teen. This ABC News. We know that's fake news, right? At high school track meet last year. See, they saying he was not sentenced today. I don't know why they saying that shit. Can y'all hit the like button, please? Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Prosecutors called the stabbing senseless and plain and simple murder, while the defense argued self-defense. And don't Texas do have a stand your ground law just like Florida do, right? Am I mistaken? Because I believe they do. Following the announcement of the jury's announcement, Metcalf's peers and his twin brother delivered an emotional impact statement addressing Anthony directly. We would never know what our future could have been, Megan Metcalf said. Austin Metcalf's mother said, for journalists, activists, this is a story. For our family, it's a reality. Jeff Metcalf, Austin Metcalf's father, said his son's death destroyed the person he used to be. People think grief is sadness. It is not. It is rage. Pure, unfiltered rage, he said. Also, he probably hated white people. Probably already did. The jury began deliberating midday today before reaching a guilty verdict in 3 hours. Oh, thank you, stars. Thank you, my bias, for subscribing. I appreciate you. Can y'all hit that like button? I appreciate it. The jurors could have considered manslaughter, which carries a sentence up to 20 years. See, and it was manslaughter. The same jury reached a decision on the sentence after several more hours of deliberation. After being remanded to custody of the sheriff's office, Anthony could be seen crying when he returned to court for the punishment phase. Anthony's mother was the only person to take the stand during the punishment phase, asking the jurors to show him mercy as he is sorry for what he did. The judge said that Anthony waived his right to testify during the punishment phase. Damn, they calling this punishment phase. Wow, man. The murder charge carried a sentence of 5 years to life. The state agreed to allow jurors to consider sudden passion, which, if proven, would have limited the sentence to 2 to 20 years. The defense argued that Anthony was overwhelmed by strong emotion, acted before having time to calm down. The deadly stabbing occurred at Frisco Independent School District Stadium April 2nd, 2025, during a track and field competition. Oh, well, that's good, Stars. I'm glad. Okay. Jurors heard testimony over 4 days at the Collin County Courthouse. Anthony did not take the stand. Judge Jones imposed a gag order on the case. He should restricting what those involved can say and barred any electronics from the courtroom during the trial due to attention the case has garnered. First District Assistant District Attorney Bill Worski told jurors that the stabbing was not self-defense but unjustified murder. In his closing arguments, Westwood claimed that Anthony provoked Metcalf, questioned why the defendant didn't walk away and called the stabbing disproportionate. You don't get to meet a shove with a stab, especially if you provoke a shove. Defense attorney Mike Howard told jurors that Anthony had gone to Memorial Tent to get out of the rain when Metcalf confronted him and told him to leave. Howard said Anthony acted in fear and chaos after Metcalf pushed him and stabbed the other teen in self defense. Right, Stars. Right. He didn't mean to do it. I really don't think that he meant to do that. Multiple students who were at the track meet that day testified that they saw Metcalf push Anthony, who was seated on a bleacher, with some describing as a two-handed push, like a lineman move, while others said it was a one-handed small shove. One witness testified that Anthony was asked to leave the tent about 15 times. Why the hell didn't he just leave? But it was raining. Touch me and see what happens during the altercation, which witness said lasts about 4 to 5 minutes. Another witness quoted Metcalf as telling Anthony, I'm not going to fight you. Surveillance footage from the track meet played in court did not show the stabbing, and some of the witnesses were asked to demonstrate the incident. After the stabbing, witnesses said Anthony jogged away from the tent, and a coach who spoke to him on the track testified that he said he put his hands on me. I stabbed him. A pocket knife used in the stabbing was found on the bleachers. Dr. Elizabeth Ventura testified that Metcalf was stabbed on the left side of his chest, and the knife, oh, it hit his right ventricle, so he was stabbed in the heart. Damn. Several people spoke during the trial of efforts to save Metcalf. A football coach who was helping at the track meet testified that he put pressure on the stab wound. No, I lost. Oh, and Memorial's athletic trainer said she did CPR until the paramedics arrived. Everyone was praying. Metcalf was transported to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead. I don't think that boy really meant to stab him, and it's unfortunate. He held a 3.4 GPA. He didn't mean to kill that boy. Stab him, yeah, but he didn't mean to kill him. I don't believe that. We know this trial has brought strong emotions and deep grief, and we ask that our community continue to support each other. Thank you, stars. Hey, Lee. Who was Lula? Damn, this is such an unfortunate situation. Carmelo Anthony's mom begs jury deciding son's sentence to have mercy. Carmelo Anthony sobbing. I would have did the same thing. Sobbing mother Kayla Hayes begged a Texas jury today. Oh shit. A Texas jury today. Please have mercy on my son. He's my oldest. He's always be my baby. I love him very much. Well, that ain't compelling. I mean, shit. I would have went in there. I would have shit. Mm. But it got people feeling so kind of way. You got black folk on one end who agree with him being found guilty and others who don't. Texas law does not require that you wait until you get hit. In that split second of chaos, you must put yourself in his shoes. During a nearly week-long trial, prosecutors said that Anthony provoked Metcalf, and witnesses had testified that Anthony was the aggressor. This is not self-defense, they said. It's murder, said the prosecution. You don't get to meet a shove with a knife. Yeah, this is such an unfortunate case. All right, let's get to the videos. We got videos. So should I do the? I should do the new. No, I'm gonna do the old stuff first. Is this Charleston White? Man, listen, seeing Charleston White in that interrogation room sing and dance. Oh, this is Charleston White. Yeah, he's mad.
Yeah. Man, listen, seeing Charleston White in the interrogation room sing and dance and jump around for the detective is top tier to me. That shit is hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Seeing him try to fight for his life, doing everything he can to save his own skin.
This is AG tactical.
For him. Police officers that I don't know if it's Zannies or Zanies, but either way, how he got in probably had no problem.
What does this have to do with Karmelo?
You can't have it at the dance. You can't have it at the football game. You can't have it in another school district. Supporters getting sued, and even the dumb after these people, including, of course, Sarah Fields, because she's the family has not touched the GoFundMe money. You say the outrageous shit about.
Okay, here we go about that GoFundMe.
Level of truth to it. You could say the wildest shit that you want as long as it's true. You have some evidence. He's just making shit up as he goes along. So let me stick to the case, to the facts, right? So Sarah has a lady who works for the Collin County Court who just lost her job, who released the indictment before anybody had it. So for whatever reason, Sarah is getting all this information, and she's coming to misconstrue the information, and she's giving out misinformation that's false information. And see, this is the thing. Everything she gave out was either signed. You could verify it if you really wanted to go that far and find the person who signed it. It was either released by a government official section of the internet. Like everything she released had a paper trail to back it up. So this is where the flat out lying comes in. And if you're just a casual watcher, you might think
it is stars.
So let's keep it going though. He goes crazy on the right here. Number one, the family has not touched the GoFundMe money. GoFundMe froze the money because the lawyers are trying to get the money. The lawyers are trying to get the money, not the family. It's the lawyers. The first group of people came through with civil rights lawyers trying to play for a civil rights lawsuit as if this was a police shooting. That's why they went with the race card. Biggest mistake they could have made. First mistake I told them they made, playing a race card. Now the white people was waiting for black people to play the race card. Now they're playing the race card in ways that we can't see. It's called racism. It's hidden in the fabrics. It's embedded in the fabrics of the design of America. So it's not
facts.
You can't see it. It's hidden. Like somebody in Collin County courts who has a job to feed their family are releasing private information to a known, not a law enforcement, which is Sarah J. Field. That's the first mistake that's happened in this case. These are adults that's doing this. This was a children's problem. A children's issue, the adults have gotten in and made it hateful, ugly, and racist. Well, I mean, when the kid kills another kid, the adults usually have to hop in and do something about it, Charleston. You want the kids to go to court too? You know, let's rally up all the kids of the school.
Well, they did testify. So this is the old stuff we're looking at right now.
In a stunning admission, the supporters of
Karmelo
Anthony in this
Jabari Dawkins, I like him.
Racism. But wait till you hear their reasoning when Savannah Hernandez interviews them in person. Also, New York legislators are looking to change the definitions once again of mother and father and what is going on in the election.
It was an accident. Yes, stars, I agree.
This first clip from Savannah. Look at this.
If evidence does come out that Karmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Boston Metcalf, do you think that the black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs. We're going to stand by ours regardless. I'm a mother first. I'm a black mother. Let me put that on there. I'm an African American mother. So I have to put away my color first and step into the motherhood. Nobody wants to see their child slain. So I do want to send prayers to Austin Metcalf, their family. But at the end of the day, I got to think like, okay, what did you do to him or whatever to cause this to happen, the reaction? We got to start taking accountability for our kids.
Yeah. All right. So shout out to Savannah Hernandez, and let's just go ahead and call it what it is. They don't care about the truth. It doesn't even matter. The fact that he's black, that's all I need to know. I don't care if he intentionally wanted to murder Austin Metcalf.
Hey, Money Low.
I don't care if he's
You see, Trump done got on that. The Supreme Court done did some shit. Spencer might be back in there. I got to see what they just ruled. I think they ruled counting mail-in ballots after election day is illegal. Cause how that Yep. So that's another story, but I ain't getting into that tonight. We talking about Carmelo Anthony was found guilty. So let me get back to this video.
completely guilty in the eyes of the law, we need to defend him at all costs. And the question is this: how can you call that justice, but in the same breath demand justice from other people in this country? It just doesn't make sense to me. What type of people, what type of community would think that way?
Because then again, if my kid, that's why it's a catch 22. If my kid was Carmelo and I feel like his back was against the wall, well, I'm gonna tell you straight up, better mine than yours. Better mine than yours. So either way it go, everybody loses. A black boy allegedly murdered, and I say allegedly, heavy on the allegedly murdered somebody. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, this is about race. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn.
And here's the other thing about this particular opinion.
Well, that's very true because Black lives don't matter. That's very true. But you got some black folk that agree that he is guilty. And you got the other hand that's no. I do not believe that Carmelo meant to unalive that boy. I don't. But the boy shoved him. They asked him 15 times to leave the tent. Carmelo did not leave the tent, so Austin shoved him and he stabbed him. But I do not believe that he meant to kill him. I agree with that, Stars. I do agree with that. But anytime it's a black and white issue, it's gonna be racism. That's what it's going. That's what they're gonna play the race card.
From this woman, she doesn't even know the facts of the case. So she's in front of a camera, in front of a microphone, spewing this type of opinion, which is rooted in ignorance, and hasn't even taken time to actually look at the witness statements, which we're going to show you here shortly, where there was a key witness in the case today that testified that clearly contradicts what the defense's case is rooted on, which is self-defense. But she doesn't care about that. Why? Because he's black. Is that what we're going to do as a country? It doesn't matter about accountability. What matters is that the person is black, so screw it. Yeah, it's uncommon times, as I put it. I come out here.
Well, it's not uncommon times. It's because of the injustices that have been done to us as a people. Why, no matter what, some will stand by Carmelo, others won't. So we have evolved a little bit past race, but because of the atrocities that's been committed against us, you know, hell, like the lady said, better him than my son. I mean, it's sad, and I do believe that race relations are getting better, but we got a long history of what was done to us. Unjust. Not just civil rights, just getting shot in the back from running from the police, being unarmed. It's just so much that has been done, and you have to understand why black people feel that way. You know?
Every Thursday, and we pray for people going to court because we know this is the final frontier of racism, and it's legalized here.
It was announced yesterday that there's no black jurors that were chosen. What are your thoughts on that?
That's why we need God. That's why we need God, and that's why He's going to show who's in control.
And would you be open to giving us your personal insights into the Carmelo Anthony trial and what your thoughts are on it?
I just want justice done. You know, we know nobody goes to a track meet to murder anybody. Okay?
That part.
That's an accident, self-defense. That's what it was. I'm not saying the kid should get off free, but first degree murder, come on. All right, hold on. If I understand him correctly,
Now,
we can't have it both ways. You can't argue.
I do agree, first degree murder is awful. The boy should not, I believe the boy, if anything, should be charged with manslaughter, 5 years. Right, but the witnesses came on there, we're going to get to that, and said it was not self defense, that the boy just pushed him. It didn't warrant a knife, but whatever, and it was a pocket knife, a legal. He just happened when he stabbed him in the heart. That's what killed him. He did not intentionally want to unalive that boy. I don't believe that. Ain't nothing gonna make me believe that.
That no one goes to a track meet to murder someone, but at the same time, Carmelo Anthony assumed that he was about to get murdered by Austin Metcalf, which is why he killed him first.
Oh, that is so not true. That is so not true. Austin didn't even have nothing. He didn't have a weapon. He pushed him. I don't think he believed that he was going to be beat up. But a lot of people have said that Austin um was a bully. Money low. Now you done said something. That's it. Because Austin was big in this Texas, and white folks is not scared of us. You know, especially in Texas. So you're right. I agree with that. I agree, Stars, because I don't agree with that statement at all.
And that's the thing that stands out to me the most. What made, and according to the reporting that I've seen since this first kicked off, I did not hear or see or read anything that led me to believe that if I was Carmelo Anthony, that I also would have pulled out a knife and stabbed someone in the chest. I would have done that. So what prompted him to do that exactly? Again, that's going to be up to his attorneys to figure out how to, I guess, explain that to the jury. But it's not racist. And basically, he facing the wrong charge for the crime that was committed.
Do you
I
think
agree.
Carmelo is innocent? Do you feel like it's been an unfair response to what happened to Carmelo Anthony?
I feel that the justice system always over responds when it comes to us.
Facts.
So definitely, I mean, you look at the charge. It was self defense. He was wrestling with two guys. I don't know what the parameters of it, but it was two people. So two against one. That's self defense. But you see, a case like this is going to be a great learning lesson for a lot of people, especially people of Texas. Because if a teenager is at a football game and two other teenagers walk up to him and they're about to get into a fight, one teenager pulls out a gun and shoots both of them. Is that self defense? That's a great question. That is a really good question. Now, because I'm thinking back when I was a high schooler, I don't think I would be self defense, but maybe I'm wrong. And by the way, I'm not the attorney. So I didn't see in the reporting, as I continue to say, that he was on the ground, that they were choking him out.
He wasn't on the ground. Let me move past this
Initially,
point.
the team says no one ganged up on Carmelo. Witness adds that Carmelo was provoking Austin. Witness says Austin Metcalf pushed Carmelo, but it wasn't a hard push. That's when Carmelo pulled the knife from his backpack and stabbed Austin. He adds Carmelo tossed the weapon and ran off. The 911 call placed by the witness was then played. So that doesn't sound like, Carmelo Anthony was in trouble. His life was truly threatened by a group of people. They had him pinned down, and he had no choice but to pull out his knife. Okay, that's not what I'm hearing here. Besides the tragedy.
Wow. See, now here we go. Only good cracker is an unalive one. Wow. But again, in Texas and all the atrocities that we've done, this is why black folk feel the way that they feel.
itself, I would argue what you just heard there is truly disturbing. So you're over there wanting justice for Carmelo Anthony, but in the same breath, essentially suggesting that white people who are killed is a good thing. So where's the justice in that exactly? And obviously you can't take people like that seriously, but these people are a problem. They add to why there's a certain level of divisiveness regarding racial issues in America because they eat up the propaganda. Now, I don't believe in any of that stuff. I wasn't raised that way. That might be the. No, you're forgetting why black folk feel that way. You're forgetting that. I'm going to get off of this video because now, this is what Judge Joe Brown, I love him. This is what he had to say.
Are black jurors more harsh towards black defendants? It depends on who you're talking to. Okay. Look, like I said, I tried 42 first-degree murder cases as a defense lawyer where the death penalty was demanded. And a bunch more were like this one, it wasn't. I've tried... Right, Stars. The youngest person I was involved with, charged with murder where the death penalty was demanded, was in the 7th grade when the crime was committed. All right? All the killings occurred. Now, that ranges to another somebody. It's been a long time ago. Tennessee has changed its law. He was 16 in the state receiving the death penalty. We had one person on the jury hold out for not guilty. She deadlocked the jury. She stood up after I got to preaching to her. She said, "Amen, brother." I said, "Calm down, sister. There's more in this sermon to come today." Objection got overruled. General, Mr. Brown is simply stating the gravity and giving illustrations. Proceed. And she hung the jury up. And we had 11 white people on the next jury, one of whom was the mother of a federal prosecutor, and one black guy, and they acquitted the defendant. And guess what? 6 months later, somebody doing penitentiary crime confessed to the crime. Damn. We found out something that nobody knew. When we got some leads in the first trial and investigated, this one guy that fingered. I need you to get to Karmelo. Let's go to Karmelo. The high bar is this. I'll be candid. If you take 5 juries, in my 50 years of experience with these things, 3 of them are good. They do the best people can do. They're conscientious. They really get into the evidence. They set their feelings aside, and they are objective, and they're wise people. One of those 5 juries, they act like they lost their minds. And one of them, you get the feeling that they must have taken the short bus to school throughout their school career. Now, let me give you an example. I always, as a judge, permitted defense and prosecution to talk to the jurors after the verdict if the jurors wanted to talk. So I'd go stand there while this is going on so I could keep things under control. I'd keep the back cape on and all of that. And one juror, when asked, how did they deadlock on this case? And he says, the defense said, wasn't there reasonable doubt? And the foreman said, oh, there was plenty of reasonable doubt. We just thought that was a mere technicality, and you smart defense lawyers kept us from finding out why the police arrested your client. I'm like, damn. Have they lost their minds, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? If you find any doubt that is reasonable, howsoever small, after the use of human logic, rationality, analysis, and observation, you are to acquit the defendant. Facts. Facts. If there's any of this kind of reasonable doubt left, you must acquit. You must. And facts. This fool said, oh yeah, we were convinced there was a whole lot of doubt. But we figured you were really smart defense lawyers and you kept us from finding out what really happened. Right, last thing. No, by the way, as a 13th juror, had there
been a guilty verdict, I would have set it aside. And the state would have had to try this case all over again. Hi, guys. Let me share something with you.
Okay, let me get.
Here's the registration. Voting registration. And what winds up, and prior jury service. So what winds up happening is on private jury service means.
Okay, I want him to get the Karmelo.
Some fool actually put this on in writing. And see, the other thing is, some other people who have a different orientation toward things will lie about stuff so they do get put on a jury. Did you really want to be on this jury? No, but I do. My people are people, and sometimes they get fed up with things. So all of these people flag waving out there, and on one side, and the ones out there with the side gets on the jury, and they process because so many of them turned out to have felony convictions. And you can have anybody in here who's been convicted of a felony. After they have done their time, like a former felon? I think it depends upon the underlying crime. I think it's called being.
Okay, this was basically about the jury. I thought it was going to be something else because I don't watch these videos. Some of them I watch, some of them I don't.
If evidence does come out that Karmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the Black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs. We're going to stand by ours regardless. I'm a mother first. I'm a Black mother. Let me put that on there. I'm an African American mother. So I have to put away my color first and step into the motherhood. Nobody wants to see their child slain. So I do want to send prayers to Austin Metcalf, their family. But at the end of the day, I got to think like, okay, what did you do to them or whatever to cause this to happen, the reaction? We got to start taking accountability for our kids.
The fact that she's totally okay with being openly racist on camera and thinking that there's nothing wrong with anything that she just said is problem number one. Number two, imagine if the roles were reversed and me as a white dude shows up to this and says on camera, yeah, Austin might have done this. He might have stabbed and killed Karmelo. But at the end of the day, he's white and I'm white, so we got to stick with our people. Even though the evidence is overwhelmingly against him, I got to think, well, what did that person do to provoke him? How did we get here to where it's the victim's fault who's dead and not the actual perpetrator? Because obviously the perpetrator, because they're Black, they didn't mean to do it. There's got to be some kind of socioeconomic reason. There's got to be some kind of racist issue to cause him to kill somebody. People are actually mad that there's not a Black juror on this case. You are mad that there's not a Black juror because simply that they would just vote in agreement to let him go or to not get charged because you're the same skin tone? So you're openly admitting that if you were a Black juror on that case, you would vote to set him free, and that is justice? How can people not see that this is the opposite of equality? Equality would be treating everyone, no matter what skin tone they are, what gender they're attracted to, what country they're from, as everybody else, as a straight white person. Because you all.
But that's not the way it is. And you have to understand the atrocities that we've been through and why we think the way we think. Let me say that. I like this man. He's a lawyer. He does phenomenal work. I don't know if I'm gonna like what he had to say about this.
Anthony murder trial prosecutors, they're claiming, say that Karmelo Anthony fought Austin Metcalf for 4 minutes. Now, if this were true, it would be a game changer in favor of Karmelo Anthony. You're in a physical fight with someone who's substantially larger than you for 4 minutes, you're smoked. You're smoked. You become unable to continue defending yourself. Maybe that would be a deadly force attack that would justify you going to the knife. A 4-minute beating from someone who substantially outweighs you. First of all, does anybody believe that could have happened? That dozens of parents and coaches and teammates would have stood there and watched Austin Metcalf beat Karmelo Anthony to death for 4 minutes? Is it just me? that on its face, this cannot possibly be true. Here's a couple updates. What actually happened? Defense claimed in its opening statement that Karmelo Anthony arrived in the wrong tent 5-10 minutes before the confrontation with Austin Metcalf. He arrived several minutes earlier. There wasn't a fight for that entire period. In any case, he actually only arrives 2 minutes before the confrontation. And we know that from the video. J.D. Miles, a local CBS journalist out of Dallas, is in the courtroom. He's the account I'm going to use to update us on the proceedings. But he saw this report from TMZ, and he's in the room. He watched the video that we're not allowed to see, the surveillance video that caught the confrontation, in very poor quality video. He writes, I was in the courtroom, and this is inaccurate. He's being polite. It's a flat-out lie. The physical confrontation lasted only seconds because it was just a grab or a push. Before Karmelo Anthony
Wow. That changes everything.
And the video showed two shouts from unidentified figures behind others under a tent. Karmelo Anthony ran out of the back of the tent immediately after. He fled right out of the stadium. It lasted only seconds. This was not a sustained beating. This was not being jumped by 4 people. And by the way, we also know this from Karmelo Anthony. One of the wonderful things about these types of cases is the event occurs and evidence is secured right there within minutes. Certain evidence, people's statements, physical evidence. And then when they try to tell a completely different story at trial, well, you can impeach their later lies because you have the truth in the moment. Look at this. This is from the police report, and we're going to take a look at the police report from the event. I've covered it before, but it's worth looking at again. Look at these statements from Karmelo Anthony to police in the minutes after he stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest. He said, I was protecting myself. Okay?
Sorry about that.
While walking him off the track, walking Karmelo Anthony off the track, the police were walking him. Karmelo Anthony also said, he put his hands on me. And again below, as we were walking to the squad car, the suspect was emotional and said, he put his hands on me. I told him not to. If you were getting beat down by 4 people, you don't think you would say, they put their hands on me? He put his hands on me. We know it was not a disparity of numbers attack. Brianna Morello has been doing great reporting on this. She's a good follow on X. She writes, after fatally stabbing Austin Metcalf, Karmelo Anthony threw the knife away and tried to blend in with the group of people and then fled the scene. He fled right out of the stadium. In the opening statement, Bill Worski, Cullen County First Assistant District Attorney, told the jury the knife Anthony brought was prohibited at the school. He said this case has nothing to do with race. This case has nothing to do with self-defense. The facts of this case are simple. They're as simple as this killing was senseless. And folks, most murders are senseless. That's just, makes no sense. Can't believe someone would do that, but they did it. That video, the prosecutor said, tells the story. That video shows the murder. Then you're going to hear from numerous witnesses who were there. We're going to see some of the reporting on those witness statements. Here's one. State witness Vincent Cooper, a coach at Frisco High School. Well, which one? Frisco, well, I don't know. They're all called Frisco. Is now testifying how he was assigned to manage Karmelo Anthony, the killer, after the stabbing and stop him from leaving the football stadium. If you use force in lawful self-defense and you're not trying to flee the scene, why would someone have to be assigned to stop you? Later, witness Cooper was asked to calm down a teammate of Austin Metcalf who was angry about the stabbing. Austin's teammate, who is black, Austin Metcalf's teammate, the victim, the teammate is black, wanted to attack Karmelo Anthony. He stabbed my brother, the black Memorial teammate said of Austin Metcalf. I guess maybe this black athlete is a self-hating racist. Just like hanging out with a racist like Austin Metcalf, is that what we're supposed to believe? Wanted to attack.
Wow. See, I didn't know this part.
Anthony, who just murdered Austin
This
Metcalf.
changes a lot of.
My brother,
Yeah, this changes things.
Austin Metcalf. The teammate explained he was on the football team with Austin and considered him family. This is supposed to be the post-racial society
Wow.
America dreamed of. A black kid and a white kid on a football team playing together, thinking of each other like brothers. And then a demon comes in and murders one of them. That's why we can't have nice things, folks. It's the demons. Brianna Morello, Fox News is doing an awful job at covering Carmelo Anthony's murder trial, she says. They missed all the key points in the DA's opening statement. Again, we can't watch the opening statement, unfortunately, so we have to rely on others for their recounting. Here are the facts they missed. One, Anthony threw the knife he used to fatally stab Metcalf with after stabbing him. Remember the Apple River stabbing case? The guy threw the knife into the trees. Of course, that was used as consciousness of guilt evidence against him. It's the same here. It's the same here. Anthony tried blending into the crowd after the stabbing. He brought a flip knife to the track meet, even though it was prohibited. The jury has 5 minorities on it. It's just not the kind the defense likes. They want black minorities, but there's Asian. There's it looks like there's a Muslim woman. She's got the, whatever you call it.
Haji.
It's a mixed jury in terms of ethnicities and race. Eric Garrity writes, now Carmelo Anthony's defense is falling apart. In the murder trial of Austin Metcalf, he might face life in prison if convicted. Prosecutors in court show jurors surveillance footage they say tells a different story than the Carmelo Anthony defense. It reportedly shows a brief confrontation between Anthony and Metcalf, not a larger group, not a beatdown, disparity of numbers, not a sustained beating, before Carmelo Anthony runs from the scene. Jurors heard emotional testimony from Metcalf's track coach. He said that Metcalf was helping lead setup efforts that day, which basically means he was in charge of setting up the tent and equipment. The coach testified and said athletes don't just go under other teams' tents. This is something that's understood between the athletes.
That's true.
This goes to the reasonableness of conduct.
That's very true what he just said.
And asking Carmelo Anthony to leave the tent that was not his. And the lack of reasonableness of Carmelo Anthony refusing to do that. This article had some interesting content, so I wanted to cover some of that. It had some of the opening statement stuff. Prosecutor Bill Worski. We're all here because Carmelo Anthony decided to take a knife to a high school track meet and provoke another young man who he didn't know into touching him. Remember, if you provoke the confrontation, you lose the element of innocence. Get the book, people. The banner is right there. Law of Self-Defense, not free book. It's free. We ask that you cover the cost of shipping, but the book is free. The prosecutor's arguing that Carmelo Anthony provoked Austin Metcalf to touch him, to push him or grab him.
Well, if he provoked it, that changes things. But did he mean to unalive him? No, I don't believe he did. And I don't believe the boy should get life. I think it should have been a manslaughter charge, not a murder charge.
Another young man who he didn't know into touching him, so he could stab him, kill him. This Carmelo Anthony decided to commit an unjustified, provoked murder. The case has nothing to do with race. This is not self-defense. Carmelo Anthony had been at the tent belonging to Metcalf's school when the attack occurred. The prosecutor said that multiple people in the tent told Carmelo Anthony he wasn't allowed to be there. It wasn't just Austin Metcalf. There was a norm of behavior, and Carmelo Anthony was patently violating it. Was told by multiple people he was violating it. Multiple people in the tent told Carmelo Anthony he wasn't allowed to be there and asked him to leave, which the defendant, Carmelo Anthony, allegedly responded, "Move me, make me." Austin Metcalf, trying to be a leader, stepped up again to ask Anthony to leave. And here's the key part. That's new reporting, new information to me. Carmelo Anthony taunted Austin Metcalf until Metcalf took the bait as a young man and went to push Carmelo Anthony. And as soon as the stabbing happens, Carmelo Anthony takes off running fast at first and then slows down and tries to blend in and slip out the front gate. The prosecutor said Carmelo Anthony didn't realize he'd been stabbed immediately. and lifted his shirt to reveal a gaping wound to the heart. People described it as a gaping hole in his chest. By the way, very common. People who get stabbed, it feels to them like a punch. They don't know that they've been stabbed. When other students followed Karmelo Anthony, why would they have to follow him? Because he was fleeing and pointed him out to officers. He allegedly began pleading, "He touched me first. He, not them. He." When officers took Anthony into custody, Anthony told them, "I'm not alleged I did it. He touched me first," without even being questioned. Anthony's defense attorney, Mike Howard, told the jury that a lot of the noise, the truth, surrounding the case has been completely false information. Like what? They don't say. They don't say. He says Karmelo Anthony had a 3.7 GPA, was holding down 2 jobs, and he stabbed the dude in the heart. When Karmelo Anthony arrived at the track meet, it began to rain. Karmelo Anthony's school was the only one at the event without a tent that day. He said Anthony initially went to the other school's tent to have a conversation with someone he recognized, when he was suddenly asked to leave by strangers who were much larger than him. You mean the strangers who were appropriately under the tent and didn't want an outsider there because it was their locker room where they kept their valuables, where they discussed team strategy? When Karmelo Anthony arrived at the track meet, it began to rain. I've already talked about that. Self-defense is useless if you wait too late to use it. Sure, fair enough. But why would there be any privilege of self-defense in the first place? You can't just go around stabbing people. They have to be doing things that threaten you with death or serious bodily injury. You don't have to wait to be struck. You don't have to suffer so much as a scratch before you can defend yourself against the deadly force attack. But where's the deadly force attack? It doesn't exist.
Damn.
In that moment,
Damn.
Austin Metcalf makes the first physical contact. Again, a push or a grab. Not reasonably likely to inflict death or serious bodily injury. Karmelo Anthony reacts in a split second of fear and chaos. What was the chaos? What was the chaos? The push or the grab, that was the chaos? And fear is not sufficient to justify force in self-defense, and especially not deadly force in self-defense. There's actually a legal term for this. Bare fear, irrational fear, means you're not acting in an objectively reasonable way, as required by the element of reasonableness. So it's not enough that you're afraid. Your fear has to be reasonable. The jury was shown several angles of the surveillance video that captured the stabbing, showing the entire incident spanning from Austin Metcalf's arrival at the stadium to when Karmelo Anthony was taken into custody. 15 minutes. 15 minutes from when Austin Metcalf arrived at his team's sporting event, and he was dead. Dead. His heart carved out of his body. Judge John Roach Jr. has barred any cameras from the trial. That's terrible. I think that's terrible. I can almost understand limiting the exposure of the evidence so you don't taint the jury pool and you minimize the kind of propaganda nonsense we're seeing anyway. But once the jury's seated, and why should the public not? The public is allowed to see, but there's only 27 seats in the courtroom available. There's hundreds of millions of people who would like to watch this trial, form their own judgments about the credibility of the testimony and the legal arguments, especially me. We can't all fit in the courtroom, Your Honor. It's terrible. This was from Will Cain's, Will Cain's Fox TV show. He has this attorney on whose name I don't remember, but it's going to pop up on the screen. And he was in the courtroom.
That changes a lot of stuff. He's a good attorney.
Description of the video and the surrounding events, because he heard the testimony too.
Yeah, it was very interesting, Will. Both sides did an excellent job, and they're open. They laid out a good roadmap for where they believed the case was going. The prosecution was very...
Todd Shapiro, that's his name.
Methodical. They used... Summerton was very methodical. They used some of the same phrases over and over again to emphasize what their theme of the case was. From the defense standpoint, I thought they tried to humanize Karmelo a little bit, try to make him more of a relatable person. And one thing I found extremely interesting is nobody addressed why he had a knife at a track meet. So the idea that that was not brought up by the defense during their open leaves a little question in everybody's mind. How are they going to get around that? Let's get into a few of the details that were laid out, at least when it comes to the prosecution in their opening statement. The two guys were under the same tent, a tent that was there for the team of Austin Metcalf. Carmelo Anthony was on another high school team. It was raining. He presumably knew someone, that's the reports, inside that Memorial High School tent. But tell me about what happened when it comes to Metcalf, what he heard from his coaches, and how that 3 or 4 minute of interaction went down in Frisco. Speaking of his coaches, I've been told that the track coach is actually on the witness stand right now providing testimony. But what we heard in opening was the track coach actually reached out to Austin Metcalf as one of the leaders of the team, one of the leaders of his grade, and said, hey, I need you today. I need you to be a leader and do things the right way when we're at the track meet. So Austin felt like he needed to protect his other athletes. They were in their own tent. That was just their team, kind of like a locker room. It seems like every school had a tent. Unfortunately, Carmelo's did not. And so you see Karmelo walk in and out a few different times, and then they're both in that tent area for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then you finally see some pushing and shoving going on. One guy goes this direction, the other guy goes this direction, and then all chaos breaks loose. Okay, before you left the courtroom to come join us, the only witness that had made the stand at that point was a forensic video analyst. And so that was much of what the jury saw today. They saw the video. Tell us what you could see in that video. It's very grainy. It's surveillance video from different vantage points in the stadium. They brought in an expert to enhance the video as best as possible. You can never make out anyone's face. You can't see, you see the clothing that they're wearing, and they match that up with some of the more clear pictures they had from the very entrance. But the actual act in the stands, it's very difficult to see who's involved. A lot of shadowy figures. It does not show that Carmelo was jumped by 4 or 5 different people. There was one person scuffling with him. Supposedly he said, push me and see what happens. Austin pushes him, and he has a knife in his hand and just plunges it right in his cheek.
Another kind of lying here, the propaganda that's being put out, is that what Carmelo Anthony had was not a knife. It was a cleat cleaning tool, a tool you can use to clean mud out of your cleats. This is what we're supposed to believe. So he didn't bring an unlawful knife to the track meet. It was a tool everybody uses. First of all, everybody doesn't use this thing. I've never seen one in my life, and I used to run track. Second of all, look at the blade on that. Is it even 2 inches? Austin Metcalf was a big, husky football player. You're not reaching as hard with that, especially with that big plate around it. It's nonsense. And the knife was recovered in evidence. We know it was a folding knife. But they're completely shameless. Shameless in their lying. So shameless. And listen, I'm not going to criticize the...
Wow, that changes everything. He provoked Austin. That's not self-defense. Damn. I like that man. He's a good, damn good lawyer. If you need one, I would definitely shit get him.
Carmelo Anthony should be swinging from a tree outside this courthouse. Carmelo Anthony should be hanging from a tree. He wants to reestablish race relations in this country so that we can get along. Tensions were high today for the Carmelo Anthony case, who was on trial for the alleged unaliving of Austin Metcalf. So, excuse me if I use colorful language like Carmelo Anthony needs to be swinging from a tree. Our people are being hunted by your people. It's the other way around because for years and centuries, white people have killed black people. Do you deny that? Like that, hung black people in trees. Like you said, have enslaved black people, have incarcerated black people. I think it's victim culture. I think it's victim culture, and there's too much. You black ass mother, you barely made it. You got one foot in the grave and one on a banana peel. I'm gonna push you if I get close enough. Many supporters from each side showed up and gave their side of the story, including Next Gen. Put out Carmelo's ability. It feels like any 8, 19-year-old child. That's one of our stuff. Yeah, that's it. I'm just going to support one of my family friends. You know, I think it's less of what they did. I'm not saying anything racially, but I'm protesting that somebody that did a crime should be in prison for that crime. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give it. Let's say this should be. I just want to make sure that I capture, like, in my mind, like, everything, how it happened. I'm an athlete in Christian values. I understand for these people over on this side, they're animals. They're heathens. They're fucking and they shouldn't even be allowed in this country anymore. They agree that an innocent person should be murdered and the guy should get away. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, but I put some details below about the case. Let me know your thoughts on this.
Wow, they carrying a Confederate flag. Jake talking about should be hanging from a tree. See, these are the atrocities that have happened to black folks for centuries, for years, hundreds of years of being here. And we, most of us are indigenous to this land. We didn't come from Africa. Not all of us. Most of us are indigenous to this country. And just to hear him say hang from a tree and all this and that, this is why black folk feel the way that he is, whether he, I don't believe he meant to unalive him, but they stand by him because of talk like that. Having the Confederate flag, saying hanging from a tree, that's so inappropriate. And I want to really cuss. It's so fucking inappropriate to say. That right there is fighting words right there. You know what I mean? Wow. And I like what the black brother he said. He explained to Jake about all the atrocities, and then Jake could only say that's victimhood. Mm. It's gonna be a part two. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment.